Greetings. This is the Grumpy Old Slan, and I'm joined once again by the Intellectual Quandary. How's it going, my friend?
Greetings, Slan. Greetings, all. I'm good, thank you. How are you, mate?
I'm doing really well. I was at a convention this weekend, had a lot of fun, and I feel the tiredness one feels after a good convention. So that's all good. And we're
Social
getting
battery
ready.
drained.
Yep. And we're getting ready to look at some art. So that should be fun.
Nice way
For
to
anyone,
recharge batteries.
yeah, exactly. And for anyone who's in the watching who wants to join us, I put the link in the chat. So feel free to click on it. If I recognize you, I'll add you to the stream. So this is the third Frank Frazetta book in this series. Another fun one. I don't know if how well you can see the cover there, but this is one of my favorite pieces.
Seems to be a little bit on the dark and muted side.
Yeah, the colors are very toned down, and I don't know if it's the scan. The colors are toned down. I have a physical copy of it, but they don't seem to be quite as dark.
Hello, Andy.
Hello, Andy. Feel free to join us if you want. What I do like about this piece is it's very reminiscent of classic book illustrations.
I'm gonna have to get a full screen on this. Give me a sec.
Yeah, no
Do you know what?
problem.
It is really evocative, and I do like it. I just feel
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
colors being on the dull side don't do it enough
Yes.
justice.
Yeah,
It needs a
I
bit
fully
more
agree
pop,
with
I
you.
think.
Yeah. I
But
just
it's a
pulled
fantastic
out.
cover. It's a solid,
Yeah.
8 or 9 out of 10 cover. But
Oh yeah, it is solid. It feels that the colors feel a bit more muted than when I look at the book itself. Though it doesn't have even the my copy on the book doesn't have any super bright hypersaturated colors. And I know, because I know this book, I'm going to go straight to the end because we have a detail of it. And I'm not sure if the stream is following up. Yeah, it seems to be.
yeah, I can see
Yeah.
it.
So the colors are a little bit better here. We can see the red on the saddle and on what could it be, like a kilt that he's wearing underneath the armor?
It does kind of have that tartan pattern, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just has that hint of a tartan pattern. It's hard, you're not sure, but it could be. But the red is definitely there, and I'm just going to go back to the front cover. The red, like, look at the red on the saddle of the horse. It's barely. It looks brown on the cover, but
It does.
here it looks much redder.
Yes.
So clearly this piece, for some reason in the scan, it got toned down, but it's still a very good piece, and it does give us a good feel for it. Like you said, very evocative. It really reminds me of early book illustrations from about 100 years ago in terms of, it's much more complete. There's not, the foreground, nothing fades off into the side.
The picture itself tells a whole story, I think.
Yes, it does. And it's a great one.
It might sound weird, but it kind of reminds me of like a fighting fantasy book, one of the older covers.
Yeah. I can see that.
Like, imagine if that was a fighting fantasy book called like Mutant from the Swamp or something. Totally believable.
Oh yeah. And it's interesting because the man, he's like obviously the focus of attention and everything, but is he the good guy or the bad guy? Like, why is he hunting the woman?
Hey, well, based on his facial expression, you'd think he's the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting that he's in the pose that's usually given to the hero.
Is it given given to the hero, or is it just given to the focal point?
It's often given to focal point. The focal point is usually the hero in a book cover. This may not be a book cover, actually. I don't know. But I love this piece. I think it's a very, very good piece. It really is, an excellent. Oops. What? Okay.
I think the dullness in the color is letting it down a bit. It's a bit
Yeah.
undersaturated,
Yeah.
but it's still a
Yeah.
solid 8.5 from me.
Yeah. For me, it's a solid 9. And I will say that might be because I'm actually seeing a paper copy. I'm looking at a paper copy also, which is a little bit better than what we see on screen.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on. We have a title page with, unfortunately, the inked art, even on the printed copy on the right-hand page, it's very hard to see. It seems to be overexposed.
Yeah,
They did a
it
bad
looks
job of
very
reproducing
faint.
this piece. This piece here just didn't get reproduced very well, unfortunately. Even on the paper copy, there's a lot of lines that disappear.
I mean, I've zoomed in on it and I can
Yeah.
just about make out what it is.
Yeah, exactly. I do like the figure on the horse, just this very quick gesture
What is that? Is
sketch.
that a griffin?
I think it's just a horse.
It's
That
got
would
wings.
be, well, I think that's a man. You see an arm here.
It could
That's
be.
another hand. These are gestures, right? So they're more made to evoke. There's the horse, one front leg, the other front leg, the rear leg, and then the other rear leg.
I guess it is a man. Yeah, yeah. But why would he be facing the other way? That's just odd.
Yeah. Well, he is. I mean, you see his leg is the right way, so maybe he's turning around to look at his pursuers. The horse has like a feel like he's running in a panic.
Yeah. True.
Maybe. I mean, these kinds of sketches are just there to give you an idea. Maybe it's a preliminary sketch. Oh yeah, we could do it like this, quick, and then you do a more detailed sketch, because you can't do a fine detailed sketch every time. You just have an idea, because you never end up getting, like, you're doing this for a living. You got to do it at a certain speed. So I don't think we should rate sketches like this. I mean, I like them, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're rateable, because they're not in the same category of things as the cover illustration.
Yeah, we can't
as
use
any
the
finished
same.
illustration.
We can't use the same criteria because it's not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the other things that happens is you also get, like, it looks like the horse almost has 5 legs, because sometimes you'll put 2 positions just to try things out. You see that too. And if you've ever looked at books of classical art, like Renaissance art, and you'll see, like, a figure posed, and they have their arm, like, the one arm is in 2 different positions, because they were trying to see which one would work best. So quick sketches like that are often like this. So
like the what's it called? The homunculus.
Oh, the
Leonardo da Vinci's man.
Yeah, the man with the square and the circle.
Making that up?
It's not the homunculus, it's something else.
What? Where did I get that word from?
It could be any number of things. There would be homunculi.
Now I'm going to search what that's
Cthulhu.
called, and I'm going to search what homunculus actually is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a miniature human. All right then.
Yeah.
What?
So another couple of sketches with the text. I like on the left-hand side, I like the dog. It's very
Vitruvian Man. That's what it was called.
Vitruvian Man. That's what it is. Yes. So yeah, one cartoony sketch, and I really like that dog, even though it's just a quick sketch. You really get the feel of a dog running.
Yeah, it looks like he's bounding.
Yeah. And again, another image that, looking at the paper copy, it's not very well reproduced. And it looks like it might have been pencil originally. And sometimes that's hard to reproduce because pencil has quite a big range of light to dark. That, especially when,
Yes.
this was done in 78, they would have to photograph it and to reproduce it. With a computer, you have in a scan, you have a lot more leeway. So, and a bunch of mostly cartoony cavemen, I guess.
Cavemen, yeah.
Yeah. So, some more of the cartoony cavemen.
Oh, unga bunga.
Yeah. And the white hunter giving him cigars. Wonder if they'll explode in their faces.
There's no censorship. What have they done?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there goes the monetization. Yeah. Some more sketches.
Bloody hell, Frank. What kind of mind did you have? Okay, that thing on the right there.
Yeah.
That is creepy.
Yeah.
And that's just a
that
person,
dark face there, yeah.
but it looks like a beholder.
Yeah, it does.
That's one of those like Attila the Hun style mustache beard combos.
Hello.
With the big hoop earrings as if to signify, would you like to look at my wares?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, even just the sketches of hands like that. I quite like seeing sketches like this. I wouldn't rate them. There's
fingers is a bit weird.
What?
Random fingers.
Yeah, well, sometimes you want to just, test stuff out. Some more sketches.
Whoa, go back a second.
Yeah. Go back.
That one on the bottom left there, that is awesome.
This one here, yeah.
Yeah.
Very cartoony in a way. Very cartoony in a way. People forget Frank Frazetta did work in comics and he's done some cartoony stuff.
The one next to him, that bottle,
yeah,
that looks like a character from a video game, which I'm not sure you've heard of. It's called Cuphead.
No, I haven't heard from it.
Okay.
Never heard of
it. The art style is very much that old school cartoon art style, and they have like cups and mugs and bottles and whatever, and they all have faces that look like that.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a very classic cartoony thing. Yeah. Oopsies, I popped my cork. Yeah. And then I like the gorilla head sketch there. But again, another bunch of good sketches. And we're finally getting to some finished works. This one's titled Dracula Meets the Wolfman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It really feels like
very nice.
Yeah. Really feels like one of those Hammer film posters or something. And it's right in the era, 1966.
Yeah, sorry to distract. I'm sending you a picture. I wonder if you could just bring it up, please.
Oh, yeah, hold on.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
That's from Cuphead. I tried to find like a good shot of a few characters so you could see the style.
Yeah. Let me just see if I think I have to stop sharing the screen and then share that image.
Screen, yeah.
Yeah. Can I? Yeah, I think that's what I'll have to do. Let me just present, share screen.
Oh, big faces.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Here we go. Allow. Yeah. Actually, that artwork reminds me of some old cartoons from things like what's it called, the Flowers and Trees by Disney, which has all
Yeah,
these
yeah, it's very
animated
much on
plants,
that
and
like
it's
50s,
very much
60s
like
style.
that. Doesn't have like the evil grin flower in the original cartoon, but there are some evil characters. They'll have that kind of eyes that have frowned down and everything. So
But yeah, when I saw that bottle that went, oopsies, just
hmm
popped my cork, it just
yeah,
give
yeah,
me, that's a
yeah,
Cuphead character right there, I'm telling you.
yeah. I believe you. Let me just start sharing the.
It's quite cutesy. Anyway, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Yeah, there's some cutesiness and certainly cartooniness to it. So
Steamboat Willie style. Yeah, it is.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it just touches on a lot of nostalgia for a lot of people. And I
yeah,
mean, I didn't even grow up watching those cartoons, but there's something nostalgic about it to me.
yeah. And actually, the Flowers and Trees, I think, might have been the first color cartoon by Disney. So it wasn't done all that long after Steamboat Willie. It was done in the 30s. Um,
But this game
so
came out within the past 10 years or so. So
oh yeah. I mean, there's
the way
still
it's managed to
tons of
capture
stuff.
that is beautiful.
Yeah. Greetings, Grim Squirrel.
Hey, it's Grim. Hello, Grim.
Yeah. Yeah. So however, Dracula Meets the Wolfman is not so cartoony in style. And
Yes, back to the goodness.
yeah. Um I quite like it. Like I said, it really reminds me of like a Hammer film poster. Uh,
Grim's just
I
in time. She did a
yeah,
Dracula reading on her channel, didn't she?
yeah, I think so.
You're gonna like this picture, Grim.
Yeah. It's certainly in her wheelhouse, I would imagine. But I really like this one a lot. You really get the old horror film feel from it.
I'm not seeing it on the screen.
You're not seeing it on. Oh, wait, did I forget to? Oh, yeah, great. Add to stage. There we go.
There it is.
Yeah.
Oh
We're
yes,
all
look at
professionals here.
that.
I need to get that second screen so I can like decently stream. Yeah.
That is a solid 9 from me,
Yeah, it is
easily.
for me too. Yeah. Dracula, it's titled Dracula Meets the Wolfman. And underneath that, it says poster number 83, which, um, it might have been a poster that was sold. It might have been for a poster for some horror film. I don't know.
Hey,
Yeah,
Coco.
greetings, Coco.
This it also sort of goes into that age-old question of who would win between vampires and werewolves.
Yeah, yeah,
And in this case, it looks like the werewolf. But I mean, I would personally disagree with that.
yeah, yeah. It's Oh, greetings,
Hey,
Seraphis.
Seraphis.
Nice to see you. Must be pretty early where you're at. Uh, so, no,
Oh,
for
they
me
probably
this is
just
a
woke up.
solid 9. Yeah, exactly. For me this is a solid 9. I love the atmosphere. It really gets the whole.
Easily a 9.
Yeah,
And I like the detail in not just the foreground, but the background. You can tell that it's just an absolute ruin and chaos.
yeah, yeah. It evokes it, and you can see the hints of a cemetery. It's got the Gothic arches, everything. It's great.
Oh, like I could imagine this in Bloodborne.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's
People
go
in
to
chat,
the
feel free
next
to give your
one.
ratings as well.
Yes, absolutely. We'll go to the next one, which is titled Swords of Mars.
Whoa, okay. Hey, Bruce Lee, how's it
Yeah,
going?
yeah. Well, we've seen these kinds of weird buildings in other Mars book covers that Frazetta did. Same
Mhm.
with the swords and the helmets. So It's nice that he keeps it consistent from book to book. So if you'd have the whole series of the books, you know that helmet, you know that sword, you know these buildings. It immerses you more in the world.
It's a strange mesh of like old school and futuristic as well.
Yes, yes. Although the books are like that, they're science fiction because John Carter goes to Mars, but they always fight with swords and they don't seem to have
Phasers
gunpowder
or
or
anything like that.
yeah, there's no advanced technology, but they have some flying machines or
They
whatever.
have advanced enough technology to make things to get to space and to other planets, but not for guns. I mean, that's just
Yeah, the first Princess of Mars, which was the first of the John Carter books, was published in 1910. So
wow. Okay.
yeah, I forget. I mean, there's a dozen or so books that I have, so there might be more, but there's at least a dozen. And I know you got to remember, Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote tons of other stuff, like I countless Tarzan books, countless other adventure books. So even if he comes out with one every year or two, that's easily 15 to 20 years to come out with all of these. So even so probably this might be from the 20s, the book, I mean, not the painting, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, their idea of the of technology versus stuff, it's more, let's have some adventure, and that was it. Those were those books. I do agree with Coco here. It is a good 9. And yes, the John Carter, because he's on Mars, which has less of a gravity, very often in the book they will bring up how he can jump so much further and higher than anyone else who's from Mars, who evolved and grew up on a lower gravity world. So
Ah, right.
so
Yeah, that's
that's
cool.
so that's kind of cool. I didn't particularly like it. There was a John Carter of Mars movie that came out like I don't know, 10ish years ago, and he did a lot of that jumping. I think they went a bit overboard with that, but they did
Yeah, they
keep that
probably ran it
feature
into
of
the
the
ground.
story. Yeah.
I mean, it is possible to have too much of a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they did have a type of gun, but it just doesn't feel as science fictional as, some of the stuff we're more used to. Um, yeah.
I think I would agree, though. Solid 9.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a solid 9. Yeah. Uh, girl
Okay,
bathing.
Frank. Right,
Yeah.
demonetization achieved.
Yes, exactly. And you see the girl, but do you see the other figure? I'm going to zoom in, okay? Ooh, that's a bit too much. Do you see the face? There's a smile
I
here.
can
There's
see
a
an
nose
eye.
here. There's the eye
Oh, I
here.
see the smile. I see the nose. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now let's zoom back out. This could be a shoulder and an arm, right? Hands on the knees and the feet.
Okay. Yep.
Strategic censorship of wood.
I think we know what's going on here.
Yeah, yeah. But again, we see the cartoony side of his art in this piece.
That tree was
Like,
not alive before she sat on it.
yeah. Oh,
Now
Coco,
he's happy.
yeah, indeed. Happy Groot. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's a fun little image. And I think it has a bit more than a lot of the cheesecake art, pinup art that you
Mhm.
you would see, which it would just have the girl, and he adding that tree figure guy, Groot, as Coco called him, just makes that picture so much more fun and funny. Um, so yeah, for me, I like this one a lot. You know, uh, 8.5.
I have to give this a slightly lower rating of an 8.
And
You'd think
this one
someone
is
young like me would want more things like that.
and now we have Bloodstone. I think another obvious book cover, you know. Lots of empty space on top for the title, and at the bottom for the author's name and some blurbs. Very bloody sword. It's all Frazetta, Grim Squirrel. This is a book of Frazetta artwork called The Fantastic Art of Frank Frazetta, Book 3. Or at least that's how it's
Frankie boy.
often listed. Yeah. So, yeah.
So
Yeah. Coco's amazing. He
I
just
know
comes out with the author and the book title like that. It's crazy.
you
Kudos,
should
my
jump in on
friend.
the stream. You'll know better than me. So
Mm-hmm.
it looks to me like, I know it says Bloodstone, but
Mm-hmm.
it looks like an eye.
Oh, I could see that. Like this being a big eye.
Yeah, and the red stuff. I know obviously he's probably just
Mm-hmm.
stabbed the stone or whatever, but you could see it
Yeah.
as him like stabbing the eye, and that's either the lines
Yeah.
that are already in the eye or blood leaking from it.
Mm-hmm.
Like perhaps the bloodstone
Yeah.
is the eye of like a greater stone creature or something.
A Grim Squirrel said the same thing. Looks like a giant eye.
Beat you to it.
Yeah.
That's what you get for the 10-second chat delay.
Yeah. That and the distraction from I guess I don't know if the kids are up yet and she has to get them ready for school. So that could be also slowing Grim Squirrel down. But yeah. Um I like this one though it doesn't grab me as much as the other covers, so I'm gonna give it a solid 7.
She says she'll get me next time. Nice. To be honest,
Yeah.
it's a bit too simple for me. Like I like what it's got
Mhm.
going on, but like you say, it
Yeah.
feels like there's too much space at the bottom and the top for wording.
Mhm.
So I'd have to give it a 7.
Mhm. It's a wild source and sorcery book. The Bloodstone in a ring. The Bloodstone a ring artifact. He fights frogmen, etc. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I've read a little bit of Carl Edward Wagner, some of his short stories, and they're really good. So, so many books, so little time. So I haven't read the Kane books. So, but I think this is the kind of cover illustration that looks better on the actual cover when you see everything else with it, the title, the author name, all of that stuff.
yes.
You know, because I
I
think
agree.
some illustrations they look great like that, and once you put all the other stuff, it sometimes feels too full, or some don't, but some do. And this one really feels like it'll look better with the title and everything. But I agree with you on the 7. Okay, moving on. This one is called Arrows. Uh, Another
Okay.
quite simple one.
So that's a snake, or it looks to be
Yeah,
some
or
sort of
it's the
snake.
tail of a snake. We don't see the head.
I don't know what that is. Is that supposed to be sand? Is that supposed to be a rock face?
Is it supposed to be? Is she in some, maybe muddy water, and the snake is, in it too? I don't know.
I think
Uh,
the background, like the far side of the snake,
yeah,
is where its head is buried in something.
maybe.
That's what it looks like
I
to me.
mean,
Because the close side is clearly the tail.
maybe. Although I see it the other way because I see the far end tapering down. To me, it hints like this area seems to be narrowing down, which to me indicates it's the tail. And then if its head is under the water, this is partly submerged. We just see like the top half here of the snake. We don't see all the entire snake. The bottom half of
Or
it
maybe
is
it's just a snake with 0 heads and 2 tails.
yeah, not a Neuroboros, but
Not quite. We have a Roboros at home.
yeah. So I find this is a bit too simple, even more than the one before. There seems to be less going on.
This is a 5 from me, I
Yeah,
think.
I think so too. 5. That's a bit of a disappointing image.
Definitely the least appealing one so far.
Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So this is Bran McMorn, who is another one. I mean, he's much less known than Conan, but he's another one of the characters created by Robert E. Howard.
yeah.
And he's the leader of the Picts in the what is now the UK, but was Pictish lands before. Um,
So they're clearly rallying for war,
yeah.
but I find it interesting that the guy at the front, he doesn't look to be he's obviously the leader, but he doesn't look like a leader.
Mm-hmm.
You would expect him to have some sort of like more armor or a helmet or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I
A
like how
lot
they
of
got their heads on pikes. That's cool.
yeah, yeah. Part of it is that uh, it's been so long since I've read it, and Coco will correct me if I'm wrong, but his tribe is seen as much more primitive than the invaders they're trying to fight off, who would eventually become the people who lived in England that the Romans would then have to deal with. Um, but so I think that's why maybe they had minimal uh, access to stuff, if I recall in the story.
Hmm.
So this isn't Iron Age. It's early Bronze Age is what you have to think of. Metal is still precious and rare. So even in the stories from what I recall, but it's been a long time since I've read them. So
And they don't exactly look like your modern day, Homo sapiens.
exactly,
So
yeah. So
this
I
one,
mean, I
this one's
like this
pretty good,
image.
but not as good
Yeah,
as other ones. I'd give this a
no,
6.
yeah, I'll give it a 7. I like the, with only 8 figures and a couple of heads on spikes, he really does evoke an entire army, and that's
Yes.
quite impressive. So, all right, next is the Night Stalker.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, okay. The more I look
yeah,
at this, the more I like it.
yeah, I find it's one of those quiet pieces that if you just glance at it, you miss so much you don't realize how much there is in it.
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good way
Uh,
of putting it.
you know, yeah,
So
I
he
guess
is
it is.
clearly, as said, the Night Stalker. Like he's on the
Hmm.
edge of a cliff. He's surveying. He's scouting, and you can see the winding path
Yeah,
up to that little village. And he's
yeah.
thinking,
And
"I'm
he's
gonna
the
fist him."
outsider. And he's the outsider, you
Hmm.
know? Yeah. Um, that's
Like the
one of the
veins in his
interesting
arm.
things.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
just steroids. That is.
Yeah, yeah. But it's funny how the arm is here super detailed, and even the rest of his body is more suggested. This is I mean, this could be rocks, but it could be skulls. It's only suggested. And then the
Hmm.
village is just hinted at with like
Well,
the shape of the roofs and some little whitish squares for the windows.
I
Yeah,
thought there were skulls because if you look, there's a
yeah,
rib cage next to it.
yes, there is. But it's just suggested, so you could argue it both ways, is all I'm saying.
What? So they're just random rocks, and he just decided to eat like a
Yeah.
rack of ribs.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I don't know. It's not clear that they're skulls. I don't see any eye holes or anything like that you typically. They're all facing away. Okay.
Yeah.
But I do like the atmosphere in that one. And I like the moon with the clouds
This
in
is a
front of
solid
it.
8.
Oh, yeah. Solid 8 for me, too. The moon seems like a key feature, like how the light can distort the darkness. Yes, it
And I like
does.
the fact that it's a weird thing to like, but the fact that the moon isn't a perfect circle, you can see that the village in the distance is
Yeah.
overshadowed by like another mountain.
Yes, I think that really adds to it. It adds another layer because right now you have like the Night Stalker in the foreground, and then what you think is the background with the village actually becomes the middle ground because of
Yes.
that the clouds and the mountain that are in front of the moon, which is of course the sky and the
And it
far
gives this
distance.
feeling of like isolation and seclusion.
Yeah,
Like there's no way for those people to get away from him.
yeah.
In fact, you know what? I'm bumping this up to a 9. This is fucking good.
I told you, quiet piece that the more you look at it, the more you get into it. So,
I
on
think
to the
that's the
next.
first time I've ever changed my vote.
I can't recall. I'd have to go and rewatch the streams to know. But yeah, I don't recall you changing
Oh,
your
here's
vote.
the Thulu. The Thulu has arrived.
Yeah. It's called
What is this?
Serpent. This one's called Serpent.
Really?
Yeah, that's the thing I find very strange.
I would
I'd
have called this
expect,
one Snail Thulu.
yeah. I would think this is like a big tentacle because it looks like it ends here. If it was a snake, I would expect the head to be up here or something. Um, it's very strange, and I can't quite figure out what this is down here.
Okay, so that is the eye.
Yeah, if it's like a Cthulhu-esque type creature, totally it's the eye.
So
Um,
I'm imagining, right,
mhm,
underneath the water, the rest of the body of like a crocodile alligator sort of
mhm.
thing, but with a Cthulhu mouth.
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
yeah, I could see that. In which case,
Mm.
then that makes sense for an eye. And then there's some weird bubbly stuff because, you know.
And then whatever it's, ensnaring is clearly trying to chop at it with a knife.
Yeah, exactly. Trying not to strangle, because try not to be strangled in the process. Like
And
one
also
arm,
trying to
this
stab
arm.
themselves by accident.
Yeah, exactly. Um,
So this is a pretty solid image,
oh yeah, it is. There's a couple of things I find a little bit odd. Like, if this is a fight, I'd expect the water uh, to not be so calm that I could see a reflection here, and these lily pads to just be calmly
Hmm.
floating there,
Yeah,
But
that's
I
true.
it makes it a bit odd for me, but that also adds to one of the things about Lovecraftian horror is that you have this weird contrast of what you would expect and this weird odd, it makes it odd, which adds to the Lovecraftian. I'm not sure if I'm expressing myself well here. Um, but the super calm waters seem to make it even more horrifying because this
I
thing is so, maybe it controls the water too, or it moves so smoothly in the water that there's no ripples or anything. Is what
This is really interesting because it's yeah, the water should not be that calm. It should be more violent, turbulent than that.
yeah. But then it adds, like I said, it adds to the supernatural horror aspect that like I said, maybe this creature is just so smoothly moving in the water. There are no ripples because
Or
it's so
maybe it's not
otherworldly.
water, it's something more viscous and therefore doesn't
That,
behave like
yeah,
water.
that could be too. Again, adding to the more horror type aspect. So
Yeah, I mean, if a creature like that lives in it, then it's not going to be water, is it?
yeah, it's certainly not going to be, clear spring water.
It's not going to be your regular old H2O.
Yeah, exactly. So, um, but I do like the image. I think it's an interesting choice that we don't see the face. Uh,
They're being
you know,
strangled.
yeah, they're being strangled, but it looks like the tentacle is almost like across
Well, they're
his
being
eyes,
strangled
and
and suffocated.
yeah,
Or it looks. No, it's not covering its mouth. It's covering the eyes.
yeah, the eyes. That's what I said. I thought, like, we
That's
could see the
weird.
just the
Yeah,
tip
no,
of
no,
the
that is what you
nose,
said. I
and
thought it was covering the mouth, but I just looked again.
yeah, you could just sort of see the tip of the nose right here, and this being the chin from below.
How was Grim Squirrel not commented on this? This is a perfect Thulu image.
Yeah. Ooh, slime pool, says Seraphis. Yes. Um, I think she's dealing with her own little
Yeah.
her army. She's getting her army ready to get you. Her army of Thulu,
Oh
as
God.
she was saying.
7.5 from me. I like
Yeah.
it.
No, I think 7.5 is a fair rating too. Let's go on. And some more sketches. Again, kind of cartoony in some cases.
I like the one on the middle right.
This one here?
Yeah, the one that's
Yeah.
jumping. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like this one. The guy with the bow trying to get the deer. I really have a feeling that these look like they're probably pencil sketches, and I really wish we could see better reproductions of them.
Yeah.
It's I know, like, in the analog days of reproduction, pencils could be very hard to reproduce, uh, to look as good as the originals.
Mm-hmm.
So, and some more sketches. A couple of cartoony ones at the
What the
bottom
heck is
left.
going on that in the bottom middle on the right?
Bottom middle on the right. It
That one.
looks like, yeah.
Are they wrestling or what's going on
Or
there?
she's trying to fight him off while he's trying to carry her off, I guess.
Ah, yep, that makes sense.
She's trying to, like, maybe grabbing his hair, trying to hit him with the other arm, like it's full back, ready to hit. It's hard to say.
Frank, you freaky guy.
Yeah. And this is another nice one. I like this one, called Black Panther.
Copyright. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Um,
I mean, I have so many things to say.
yeah.
This
I'm
is
gonna
like,
assume it's a Tarzan cover.
yeah, it does look like that. Yeah, that was my first thought. It's Tarzan, but in an alternate dimension.
Yeah, possibly.
I mean, does that look like any jungle you've ever seen?
Not really. But it suggests a jungle, which, sometimes is enough.
I mean, I don't know if it's just me, but it looks like there's some sort of temple right at the top, or at least the beginning of like some sort of structure.
Yeah, maybe.
Those two black things look like windows or holes to me. And there's two on the other
Yeah,
side.
here
Match
and
and sort
here.
of make them out.
Yeah, this here and this here.
No,
Yeah.
no, that one you're on now and the one below it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, because there's some horizontal and some fairly vertical. Could be. It could also be just our pareidolia kicking in. It's hard to say.
There's too much chaos. I need structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really like the way that the Black Panther is sort of perched on the tree, because it's kind of precarious, as if to say like,
Yeah.
oh, we're definitely gonna fight, but I don't know how well this is gonna work out for
Give me
either
a
of us.
second here. Give me a second here. I'm almost up.
When I clamber up this tree, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, exactly. But I do like that one. It certainly has a lot of impact.
Is that a rope that's above him?
I think they're just some odd branches, maybe vines of some sort.
Yeah, maybe vines. Yeah.
Also like you look at like that branch here, it's got the same kinds of twists as you see here, so it could just be two branches twisting around each other, but vines would feel more I would expect
I
that
mean,
more of vines.
it looks like to me that he's doing like the Tarzan thing where he's supporting himself with the vine. Can you see like how
Yeah.
he's got it between his legs and his butt cheeks? If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah, possible.
Because if you think about it, in the original, was it? I can't remember what year it was, but the Disney Tarzan movie,
Yeah.
he's swinging on the rope on the vine, and he's carrying Jane in both arms. It's like, wait, how's he holding onto the vine?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I'm gonna give this one a solid 7.5.
Is that all? Oh, this
Yeah.
gets an 8 from me.
Yeah. The background doesn't come together as much as some of the others, and
I
that's
think it has to be at least an 8, simply because there's just a feeling of like wonder. Like you don't know what any of that stuff is, but it's interesting.
Ooh, Burroughs' Land of Hidden Men, says Coco.
Yeah, they must be hiding that temple at the top.
Yeah, I guess you were right. It wasn't your pareidolia.
Maybe it was both.
Yeah. So, well, if there was a temple, there could have been a bit more to suggest it. So I'll stick to my 7.5. And I think this is the first time you actually we've had disagreements, but I don't think you've ever so much like disagreed so hard on a rating I've given.
Oh, I mean, okay, whoa, that's quite intense.
Yeah, yeah. And this one is called Autumn People.
Okay, this is I'm not sure if I like this one or if I don't like this one. It's making me feel weird.
Yeah. I really like this one a lot. It's just
I
so
don't want to look at the top of the image because it freaks me out. But the bottom of the image is great.
Yeah.
It's something about the way that the tree and the branches, they all move. There's something
almost
odd about it.
You know what it reminds me of? Have you ever seen movies where you see like a very quick zoom and the edges of the image are all blurry because of the zoom, but you can still clearly see what's in the middle? And I
Yeah.
get that same feeling where, the the branches are fairly clear, and then you get to the outskirts, it gets, that weird blurry effect.
It
It's
feels
really
like
odd.
they're coming for you.
Yeah.
Like these people are all doing some sort of like ritual and the tree is coming
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I find there's so much in, atmosphere in this one. Yeah. I love this piece.
It's not bad, but it's not my cup of tea. But I'll give it a 7.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna give it a solid 8.5. So there we go.
I think the tree, if you look near where the moon is in the background, even has a face, 2 eyes, and that cheeky little grin.
Yeah.
Can you see?
Yeah, I can
And
see
then
it.
it looks like the
And
branches
even this
next
could
to it
be the
are its
nose,
arms.
and
Can you see how it looks like it's got its arms raised?
yeah, I totally see it. That's one of the things I, you know,
I mean, look, Lovecraftian abominations, I can deal with them all day long, but this freaks me out.
All right. So let's stop the freaking out and go to the next one.
Yes, please.
This one is Tanar of Pellucidar. So another Burroughs cover. Um, yeah,
What is that in the
Adventures in the
background?
Hollow.
Even that looks like it has a face.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever read or know much about the Pellucidar series, but
No.
the whole idea is Pellucidar is the Earth is a hollow sphere, and Pellucidar is the land that's on the inner surface of the sphere, and in the middle of the Earth is floats a sun that is, always there. So it's always noon in Pellucidar. The sun always shines from above. Um,
Okay. Okay.
so this could be the Pellucidar sun with a lot of, but you never have a low sun. It's very odd. Like a lot of people who illustrate Pellucidar have a hard time because it's the worst light to use to illustrate anything is straight from above for most subjects. Certainly for the kind of
Mhm.
adventure, confrontation type scenes you might have, like this one. Um, so I'm gonna say it's the sun, the from Pellucidar, but it is odd.
Okay,
It's not a
and you
moon
can see
because
the
there's no
face as
moon on.
well. It's not just my pareidolia.
No, no, there is, and there's no moon in Pellucidar. There's just a sun floating in the middle of the hollow sphere. So, or a miniature sun, and it's a
Interesting.
land where dinosaurs are still alive, and all sorts of strange, everything from dinosaurs to mammoths. You know. Uh,
I've never heard of this place, but it definitely sounds interesting.
oh,
Okay.
we've seen a couple of covers from Pellucidar books before. There was some where we were seeing a guy, we were seeing a mammoth face on, and there was a guy from behind. They were about to fight, and
Oh,
there
I
was a
think I
couple
might
of
remember
others
the
we've
mammoth
seen.
one.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I know we've seen some others for sure, because there were quite a few Pellucidar books. Um, so, um, yeah. So this
This
one, he
one
seems.
is, yeah, he's just stabbed and killed something.
Yeah, or maybe someone, because it's a hand. We do see a hand here. So it might be an ape man or a primitive man or just a regular person. We really don't know.
But it's not quite human, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then the way that he's posed, it looks like we're the next target. Like
Yeah.
he's just stabbed them. He's looked over. You as
He's
well.
just
You're next.
he's in the act of turning around to see if we're coming after him, or
Or where his next target is, that sort of
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's certainly
But
an
seriously,
impactful
that sun
piece.
in the background has a face, and that's just I don't know if it's
Yeah.
intentional or
Yeah. It is a bit odd, this the feature in the sky, we'll say, because
oh, what a beautiful sunny day. Ah!
ah!
But yeah, no, this is a
what
solid 9. It's
what's
a
that
really, really
kids
good
TV
pitch.
show with the baby faced son?
Oh, Teletubbies.
Ah, yeah, yeah, same thing. Yeah, but
Solid
no,
9.
yeah, no, I'll go a little lower with 8.5, but still really good.
I think it's just a little bit too dark at the bottom. That's the
Yeah,
only thing holding it
that's
back.
the thing, is I find it's okay. This one is called Fire Demon.
I can see why.
Yeah. It's almost hard to say if does he spring from the fire or does he call forth the fire?
So
And
it looks to me like he's calling it forth.
yeah. And I'm going to zoom in because I know I can see it, and I can certainly see it when I look at the paper copy I have. So let me quickly zoom in. But there's the woman there falling into the fire. Do you see
Oh, is
her?
that what that is? Yeah,
Like
okay. I
that,
was trying to pick
that's her
out what it
foot.
was.
One leg, the other leg is folded back. That's an arm. Her head.
Yeah,
So,
so
like,
she's
she's the
falling down into it.
sacrifice, and either
Yeah,
he either the demon sacrificed her into the fire, or somebody else sacrificed her to him. I don't
yeah.
know. Um, but it's a nice piece. I quite like it. There's a lot of crunch to it. There's you can come up with a lot
Yeah,
of
so I get the
scenarios
feeling
with
from
it.
it that it's not him that's caused her to fall, but he is here at the bottom
Hmm.
of where she's falling, and
Yeah.
he's now calling forth the flames to engulf and consume her.
uh, Yeah, that's what I have a feeling is she was sacrificed maybe to him. And like this clearly is like a cliff of some sort. Maybe this is too. Maybe she was sacrificed to the volcano god, and that's who he is, you know?
Well,
Uh,
this is the thing. I think that maybe it's not even the sacrifice to him. I think he might just be like someone who's just doing
yeah.
his part in like his
No,
role.
no. Yeah. Or he might just be there and, oh, if I, stir up the fires of this volcano, um, they'll be tossing a meal for me regularly. you know, I've got a good thing
Oh, if
going
I
here.
stir up the fires of this volcano, I can crash an
Yeah.
airplane.
Yeah. Yeah, Seraphis. There is some of that. Yeah, the Night on Bald Mountain sequence from Fantasia with the big demon. If you've ever seen it, Iman. But yeah,
Oh God.
I think it's the pose of the hands that give that feel because the demon in there has similar poses. Let me see if I
I tell you,
can.
he's conducting the most fire orchestra right now.
Yeah. I'm just going to try and find an image of it so you could see. Hello. Because I really do think Seraphis is right. That was. Uh, okay, so if everyone will just be patient, we'll uh, go to a. Yeah, now we're demonetized for sure because we have a Disney image um, happening. Here you go. That's the demon from Night on Bald Mountain, Fantasia.
Oh, okay.
And he will raise his arms, and it's, you know. So there is a similar vibe between that and this demon. They're not the same, but they give a similar vibe for sure.
Maybe it's Gordon Ramsay in Hell's Kitchen.
Okay. So yeah, but I like this image a lot. It's got a lot of potential narrative to it, which is what I like about it.
I'd
So
say, yeah, solid 9.
yeah. Okay, moving on. This one is
What did
called
you what did you
Rogue.
rate that one? Did you rate that one?
Yeah, I said yeah to your 9. I agree.
Oh right, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. This is a Rogue Roman, and we can. I'll zoom in just a bit so we can see it.
What did you say it was called? Rogue Roman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I'm reminded of is there's a French TV show called Camelot, which is all about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and all that. But
Mm-hmm.
they mix, there's and one of the secondary characters is actually this Roman uh, who stays after the Roman armies left Britannia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he's kind of like a rogue Roman, and I'm reminded of that character when I look at him. They don't particularly look the same, but it's just the idea that he's gone rogue. He's stayed behind because, hey, I'm really well here. I don't want to go back to Rome where I'm going to have to follow orders from my superiors and be, Um, the odd thing is that this Roman is blonde, and Romans tended to have black hair. Think of most
Mm-hmm.
Italians today. I don't want to sound, uh, prejudiced or anything, but there's a certain the olive skin, the dark hair is the very Italian, and I would imagine also Roman. And this is more in Africa. You've got like this leopard pelt and the black guy, I guess, trying to sell the slave girl. It's hard to. It's what I imagine, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, it doesn't feel like it's in Britannia or Northern Europe. This feels like it's somewhere in Africa to me. And he's just set himself up a nice little gig, you know, out of sight of the rest of Rome.
Yeah, I agree with you. It doesn't give Rome or England vibes. It's definitely
No,
more an African sort of vibe.
yeah. I mean, Romans were in Africa, so that's not odd. It's just that a lot of what I know about, other than Rome itself, about everything I've seen of Roman ruins and Roman artifacts comes from the UK and Germany, and a little bit in France. Um, I'm more familiar with what they did there than what they did in Africa. But I do know they were there, and they were pretty far south, much further than most people would assume, and not just in Egypt either. You know. So yeah. Um, Again, I don't know if this is a book cover. It doesn't feel like it because it's been cropped square.
Yeah,
So
which is a bit unusual.
yes, it is. But they might have decided, well, it's almost all white. Let's not bother. Or maybe there was something and they didn't want to include it because it's hard to say.
Maybe they
Um,
ran out.
yeah. Um, yeah. I think it's an okay piece. I'm not in love with it as much as the others that we've
Yeah,
seen so far. So, but it's still got some solid stuff. So I'll give it a good solid 7.
I agree. 7.
Okay. Going to the next. Ooh, the next two lovely, black and white pieces. On the left is from the portfolio for Kublai Khan. And we've seen some black and white Kublai Khan images in the previous book.
Interesting.
Maybe this one's interesting. He's surveying something in front of him. We don't see what, but we see his armies behind him. Uh, you know, and I think that's another pencil sketch because this looked like it's gray, whereas this is
Mhm.
darker. Um, Whereas if it was ink, this would probably still be black lines. It feels a bit odd to me on the way he sits on the horse. The horse's leg feel really short.
Yeah, it's like the horse is a bit disproportionate.
Yeah. And maybe he is too. His legs are too big. If you look at it, like from here to here, it's almost the same distance as from here to his head,
Is,
you know?
is it just me, or is the horse wearing armor?
Um, the horse seems to have. Oop, that's not what I meant to do. Let me just zoom in a bit. I think it's just some straps of something with stuff hanging from it. It's not full armor because you see like hair being hinted at here and like over here, right?
Yeah, okay. Maybe it's just yes.
But it feel because of this line and this line, it does feel at a quick glance that there's armor. What's really weird, I find, is that I'm gonna assume because they're looking this way that this is his army, but look, there's a cross on the shield.
Yeah, they're chasing him.
Which is not a symbol I would associate with the armies of Kublai Khan.
Yeah,
Call
they're
me kooky.
chasing him.
There's still
Yeah,
some nice stuff about it.
you just got a
And
funny
on
feeling that that's not.
Yeah. Maybe they looted this from some, well, my shield is broken, there's one, I'll grab it. And on the right we have Linus watching cabin. And this is an ink piece, and I really like this one a lot.
That one is solid.
It is so solid, so evocative. You really get the feeling whoever's in that cabin has no clue the trouble they're in yet. It's just watching and waiting for the right opportunity.
Do you know what it reminds me of? So there's two video games. One's called Until Dawn, and one's called The Quarry, and they both revolve around the same sort of B-movie horror plot of a bunch of teenagers or older
Yeah,
teenagers who go into like a cabin in the woods or in the mountains
yeah,
or whatever, and there's always something that they don't know is there watching them.
yeah, yeah.
It just gives me that vibe of like they
hmm
could be having all sorts of fun in there, but they don't know. I mean, if I
Yeah.
had, I know it's only black and white, but as far as black and white images go, that's a 10.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I think that's a solid 10 for the Linus for black and white. It's so nice. I love the high contrast too, you know. Uh, Coco said shades of the previous Night Stalker. Yeah.
The other one, I'd probably give that a 7.
Yeah. I think 7 is fair. Because there's some really nice stuff in it, but there's also some stuff that is odd about it.
It just feels
like
a bit
we
odd.
talked
Yeah.
about. Yeah. Okay. A couple more black and white ones. Girl and Black Horse.
Very
And
creative with the naming, eh?
yeah. And the other one is an illustration from the Chessmen of Mars. Again, we've seen illustrations, though it's really rare, even in color, that you actually see the stabbing in action like we do here. The sword through the body of the
Yeah, and the
guy.
shadow of the sword as well that it's casting on the
Yeah,
body.
yeah. Because often you see just before the battle or just after, just before the blow if you're in the battle, but you don't see the blow. This is an unusual one.
This
Though
is actually
again,
quite rare. Yeah, you make a good
yeah,
point.
we do see the helmet that we saw it earlier, and we've seen it saw it in the other books. Same with the guard of the sword, very part of that universe. And this kind of illustration, um, a lot of the editions from the 60s and early 70s, they would have, the cover art, and then you'd open it, and there was often going to be,
Mhm.
a small black and white illustration on the title page, if you were lucky, there were sometimes two illustrations, black and white, usually very small. They'd be like a, this thing might be 2-3 inches by 2-3 inches in the pocketbook,
Hmm.
but they were still lovely to have. Um, but yeah, quite dynamic, this one, and again, quite unusual to see the blow as it is being struck. This is something we don't often see.
I mean,
And
okay, so the one on the left, right? I don't want to
yeah,
say this in a bad way, but it feels like the horse being black is more of an excuse to give it less detail in this particular
mm,
instance.
yeah,
Because on the previous one, if you look at that, like that was more black, but it was done well.
yeah. The It feels like it could be black, but I also think that the horse is black to outline her,
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
because
Yeah.
there's minimal lines. The only lines for her are like her hand, part of her arms, and the her this leg here has some lines defining it, and a bit here, but the rest is just the black of the horse, um,
Yeah.
suggesting her outline. So I think that was more what because I mean, it really feels that way. Like, almost look at the black of the horse following, the black. It almost feels like a brush stroke here to follow her. And oh yeah, okay, we'll make it a black horse.
Yeah.
Same with down here. You know, and then we add a bit to make it more
I'd
of a horse.
I'd give it a 6. It's not great, but the
Yeah,
one on the right, now that,
yeah,
oof, that's
yeah.
amazing.
That's a really nice piece. I like it a lot. Um, you know,
I mean,
yeah, I think.
there's so much you can take from it. It's
Mhm,
just wow. That's a 10.
yeah. I was gonna go for 9.5 because uh it doesn't quite grab me as much as the lioness.
You know what
Eh,
grabs me about it is that it's actually realistic. If you look at their
mhm,
poses,
yeah.
like in battle, that's how it would be. They wouldn't be standing
Mhm.
straight up.
No. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, for me that's a 10.
Yeah. This is called The
Oh,
Night They Raided Minsky's. Again, we see the more cartoony stuff, and I could see this in like some men's magazine
the
illustrating,
night they raided Minsky's.
Minsky's. Yeah. I actually don't know
I
when
mean,
it's a.
this is a very big change of pace.
Mhm. Yeah.
There's too much going on for me personally.
There's a lot going on in it. I'm trying. It's a 1968 American musical comedy film. So there you go. So I would imagine this is part of the poster. It was done for the poster of the movie or some promotional material for the movie, which I've never seen.
Yeah, it does feel like
So,
that.
you know, but it has that very men's magazine, uh, goofy illustration. Let's have sexy girls because that's the kind of publication we have. And there we go, you know. But a lot of the characters, not the women so much as the men, they're very cartoony, like that, like this old guy, the face, or this cop
Yeah,
here. If I
yeah,
was,
that guy with the yellow hat who's weird.
yeah, yeah, this guy too. They're very cartoony, the faces. Um, so
That guy who's being carted away by the police officer. He has a weird face.
yeah. Oh yeah, there's a lot of weird faces. So there you go.
I appreciate the image, but again, it's not
Mhm.
my cup of tea. But I'll give it
Yeah.
a 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
I can appreciate that it was meant to do a job, and it probably
Yeah,
did that job very well.
yeah,
But that
and
appealed to me if I was to go and watch that film, sort of thing.
yeah. Coco mentions he always wonders what were concept sketches and what's been published. Yes, indeed. I think he's referring to the Chessmen of Mars. You know. Um, Sorry, I didn't see this your comment for a while there, Coco. Uh, we're all professionals here. And then we have Tarzan and the Ant-Men. This is a story I have not read, um, but it seems that the Ant-Men are like these, I don't know, foot tall men riding miniature antelopes of some sort. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm going to zoom in just so we can see better. Yeah, those look like some sort of antelopes or something. You know what they remind me of? They remind me of in Mononoke Hime, Princess Mononoke. The
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that.
you know the horns remind me of the the steed that the Ishikawa, I think it is, rides. Um, but yeah, that's a very weird illustration. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't read this one. Certainly, it's a classic Tarzan pose. You know, uh, walking towards you. Uh, he's got his bow and arrows, you know, on his back, holding a spear.
You know what? It's gonna sound really weird, but
Yeah.
I can't hear the word antelope without remembering this meme. It says, "Did you know there's a species of antelope capable of jumping higher than the average house? This is due to its powerful hind legs and due to the fact that the average house cannot jump."
Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is, I mean, well, it's a
This is a
classic
great
Tarzan
image.
pose. Um and we
It looks like
rarely
a book
see
cover.
it looks like what?
It looks like a book cover.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay.
I mean, it's called Tarzan and the Ant-Man, so it must be a Tarzan book cover. Is what I would imagine. Uh it's rare to see an entire figure with this much detail in Frazetta. You know, we often have like an arm, the face, and then everything else is just in silhouette or suggested. And here, I mean, the legs do start falling into suggestion, but there's still a lot more detail than we normally see overall. You know?
Yeah, we've basically got a full human being there.
Yeah, exactly.
I've
So,
noticed as well, a bit of a weird thing, but the
mhm.
spear's in his left hand.
Yeah, there's a there's a real perspective effect that makes it look a bit odd. You, you know, like it
Like they've
tapers
just
off
come
into
over
the
the crest of
distance,
a
but
hill or something.
yeah. Yeah, although could this be the rest of the army of Ant-Men? Who knows? It's hard to say. Like I said, I haven't read this Tarzan book, so
They
I
look
have
to
no
be
idea what it's
fighting
about.
with him rather than
Oh yeah,
against him.
absolutely. Tarzan would often ally himself with, you know, some group or other, and if there was a group that would be somehow oppressed, he would often fight for them. And I could easily see foot a foot tall tribe being easily oppressed by any regular sized humans. So I could see him fighting with them. Now, I'm going to rate this one a solid 8.
I'd give it a 9.
Okay.
I really like this one. Like if I saw this, I would buy the book. I'm telling you.
Mhm. Okay. All right. And now we've got a couple more. And talking about imaginative titling, uh, You're gonna have to guess which one is which. Which one is girl with sword, and which one is Indian with the long rifle?
Oh, I didn't know this was going to be an IQ test. Um, I'm
What
gonna
a
hazard a
quandary! What a
guess.
quandary!
An intellectual quandary at that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hazard a guess and say the Indian with a rifle is the one with the Indian headband who's got a rifle.
Yeah. And the girl with the sword is the girl who has a sword.
Oh, I hadn't got that far yet.
I actually like the sketch of the Indian. I like the pose.
All jokes aside, though, these are two good little sketches, little
Yeah,
images.
yeah, they're fun sketches. And I quite like I said, I quite like the pose on the Indian. So
The face you make when you need to see if your smoke signal is working.
yeah. One is, and this is some more titling: nude with dagger raised and nude holding sword. So another
I
couple
wonder
of
which
nice
one's which.
sketches. Yeah. It's kind of the contrast between her black hair and just minimal lines and shading for the rest of her is kind of interesting. You know, it's like around here, like the way it's around her face. I quite like this.
Yeah, it gives her that sort of femme fatale vibe.
Yeah. Okay. And here we have some more
hello.
cartoony stuff. Yeah. Bear watching caveman threaten cub, and girl observed by undressed man with hat.
These names, man, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He ran out of steam.
Yeah. Well, I think what happens is they're not titled so much, so whoever published a book just used the descriptive title. I really like this one. I could see this being a children's book.
I was literally about
Illustration.
to say that. Literally.
You know?
It's
And
so perfect.
and I know like I haven't covered, but I'm a big sucker for lovely children's book art. I love kids' books when they're well done. And this would be, if there was a children's book about, you know, with this kind of
Well, this
illustration
is
in it by Frazetta, I would buy it right away.
well, this is basically Yogi Bear meets Frank Frazetta.
Yeah, it could be. You know. But it's great and very cartoony. I love seeing this cartoony art that Frazetta does so well, and that he's it peop I mean, don't get me wrong, his cover illustration, his paintings are so great, but they overshadow this really good stuff, this really great stuff, you know? You know, girl observed by undressed man with hat is also funny, but in a different way. More toned down than the bear and the caveman. So
Yeah, we all know what he's doing at the beach.
yeah, exactly.
The top one is a 10. It's
Yeah, the top one's a 10 for me too.
There's nothing I can critique about it, really. If there is, it's very, very small.
Actually, my big critique is that his signature is too washed out. Up here, you know, like, and which, again, probably a limitation of the reproduction technology.
It's all
again,
good.
two more
the bottom
descriptive titles.
Wait,
Yeah.
go back a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really feeling much from the bottom one. I'd probably give it like a 6.
Yeah, 6 or 7. Now we have Indian with bow and nude in pond. I quite like the Indian with the bow. I like the rendering. It's very different from what we often see. I'm just going to zoom in.
Probably the first nude picture in this book that I actually like.
This one? Yeah.
Yeah. There's something
I
quite
I
serene about
love
it.
her. I love the curve of her hair.
Hmm.
You know, you really feel the wind.
There's something quite serene about that one.
Yeah.
I like the Indian with the boat, like
Hmm.
himself, but the rest of the
Yeah.
image doesn't really do much for me.
Yeah. But I really like his pose. You really do feel, and I find a lot of people, if you draw a bowman, you know, about to shoot, there's a lot of strain on your arms to pull that arrow back. I
Hmm.
don't know if you've ever done archery. I've done a little bit of it. I'm far from an expert, but you really feel like
I
it's a
literally
lot of
did it
effort.
once when I was like
Yeah,
10.
yeah, okay. But uh, you know, I've done it a couple of times only because I have friends who are into it that I've since lost touch with. But that's
Oh, I'd
another
really love
story.
to. It would
But
feel
it's
awesome.
but you know, when you hear like, you know, like bows used to, you know, they're called like 120 to 150 pound bows, like you, that's the draw weight, like you, it's literally like that's the, you know, how, you know, if you were to hang the bow vertically and hang weights on the string, that's how much
Yeah, yeah, no,
weight
I get.
would need to be put to pull it, so you're pulling with that force.
Yeah, it's a workout. It's a workout.
Yeah, it is. So but you really do feel the strain in the arm, like this is, you know, lovely curve here, and that I like both pieces.
So if you're right-handed, you would
Yeah.
hold the bow in the left hand and draw with the right hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's correct. So now we have a bunch more sketches of horses, a couple of weird creatures, like a dinosaur-like creature, and a crocodile-like creature, but more agile than a real one, and certainly bigger.
Hmm.
I like this. In some ways, I call this paleo art. You know, like this mix of caveman and semi-fantastical, pseudo prehistoric creatures. They're always kind of fun.
Yes, Coco. Yes, her hair, of course. That's it.
Yes, yes, the curve of her hair. Yeah. Well, I do like the curve of her hair, but she's got other great curves too. So, yeah, some fun little sketches. I actually quite like this horse here in the middle on the
I
right-hand
was gonna
side.
say, yeah, that's my favorite too.
And some more sketches. Uh, it's quite fun to see the contrast between the more realistic lions and tigers here, and then the much more cartoony lion here.
So, I mean, I have a soft spot for tigers personally, but I
Yeah.
really like that one.
Hmm. Oh, that's a nice one. I love the way the entire tiger is almost suggested only by his stripes.
Well, it looks like it genuinely looks like it's a big cat. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like pawing at its thing. Like,
yeah, yeah, pawing at this miniature horse. Let me zoom in. Look at the poor horse. It's being toyed with like it's a mouse, with, you know, by this
that's
big
either a
cat.
really small horse or a really big tiger, and I'm not
Yeah,
sure which.
yeah,
I'm not sure which is more scary.
yeah. I do like the goofy face on the cartoony lion here too. It's Let me zoom in. Again, I think it's suffered from, I think this is actually an enlargement of a quite small sketch by the looks of it, but it's quite fun.
He definitely like surprised by something.
Hmm. But I could see sketches like that, you know, like if I was a concept artist working on The Lion King, I could see sketches like that being in the part of the production process. for an animated movie with with a lion. Boom, I could see those drawings fitting right in.
Replace the Metro Goldwyn Mayer lion with that guy.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Two black and white pieces. Clearly science fiction. Hello.
Whoa.
Yeah. So monster entering
space vehicle.
space vehicle. Yeah. The title maybe not as thrilling as the illustration itself.
But you know what? That is one where it doesn't need to be, because that's exactly
No.
what it is. And
Oh
you
yeah,
don't need
yeah,
to say any more than that.
exactly. What it reminds me of, it's very reminiscent to me from of some 50s science fiction comics. The design of the hardware, what the two characters are wearing, um, it's very 50s comic books, and those are the roots of Frazetta. He did comics like that. He did this kind of stuff. He would have been exposed to it when he was younger, so I could totally see him doing that. And I like that the hardware we see here, it's much less fantastical. Like it's much less fantasy feeling, like we see like these, you know this really looks like a real piece of machinery. It doesn't look like some fancy thing. um, the one on the right is simply called Attack, and is that weird mix of fantasy and science fiction again. I mean, you see these two characters in a spaceship, clearly very 50s rocket ship, but then how's this old dude standing in outer space without a mask on or a spacesuit or anything? But he's holding a laser gun or something. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of questions about the one on the right. The one on the left is, I mean, to me, that's another solid 10. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's very
Like,
good.
it almost looks like there's too much going on, but I think there's just enough to paint a perfect picture.
I think what's interesting is that a lot of what's going on is around, and then the central figure is almost exclusively a silhouette.
Yeah.
That the monster,
You just
which
get to see a little
contrasts with all the
glimpse from the
detail.
leg.
Yeah. And I wonder if the man has already been stabbed, because the monster looks like he's holding something, like a stick or maybe a knife. And did he get
Yeah.
stabbed already? And he's holding, he's hurt and he's holding.
That's what it looks like to me, yeah. Like he's
Yeah.
clutching his chest because he's in pain.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can see that the monster isn't like he has a human looking leg.
Yeah.
So he's not like a complete monster. He's like a humanoid monster.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
which
the one
is
on the
arguably
right.
even more terrifying.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I think
That's a solid.
yeah, I
10
think a
from
10.
me.
Yeah, I think a 10 too. The one on the right, I love the design of the little spaceship, but the guy on it just makes me go, huh? And the planet or moon
covers for
behind with
things
the
funny.
craters is, yeah. The moon in the
What?
background and stuff is nice also. But how's he hitching a ride on that spaceship without a spacesuit? I just don't understand.
Whatever it is, it might not be human.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I'm assuming there would be some sort of species that can live without some sort of respiration.
Coco says these are covers for famous funnies and Buck Rogers. Yeah, that could be. I mean, we have to realize, like, we tend to see science fiction in the eyes of what we've been exposed to in the last 20, 30, 40 years, where, when you're in outer space, you don't walk outside without a helmet, or if characters do, there's often a big deal made out of it, like in 2001: A Space Odyssey, for example. Um, but way back in the day, I think in the 20s, they still believed the ether, which was like this thing that permeated all of space, and that the Earth and the stars and everything was flying through, um, existed. Although some experiments had already been done disproving it, it still was very, very much in the forefront of people's minds as how space works. They didn't know how it works, so they imagined things that feel very wrong for us. So I'm willing to forgive that if if the attack was an illustration for some old pulp science fiction story, which it feels like it is, looking at it. You got that silvery looking spaceship. I do love the hint of a reflection. This makes this feel like it's mirror smooth metal, evoked with minimal effort. So, but I'll give this one a 7. Well,
I
there's
think
stuff
your
I like
internet had
about
a
it.
little wobble there, mate.
Oh, my internet had a wobble.
I think so. Either that or it was mine.
Okay, well, I said
I'm not
I was
sure.
saying I was giving it a 7. Yeah, pretty much everything Spelljammer uses was stuff that people believed was how space worked back in the 1800s, 1900s. Yep, you're very right, Seraphis. Fantasy space stuff is how people thought it was actually working back in the day. So yeah, I could see this being in the Spelljammer campaign, this scene.
Yeah, this is a 7. It's all right.
Yeah. Okay. And now we have the fastest guitar in the world, which to me feels like this is another one of those movie posters.
What
like
the
night. Yeah. Very cartoony.
Wild
What's
West?
this? Yeah, Wild West. I really get the feeling that this is a movie poster. There's plenty of space here for a title, for the production
This is Red
company
Dead Redemption.
logo. Yeah. Yeah, Coco says the black and white pieces were from the 50s. They feel like they're from the 50s, that's for sure. Yeah. I'm not even sure how to rate this because it's so strange. But yeah, I feel it's a movie poster. I wish I could find it. Let me see if I can find it. Alvin Lee, fastest guitar player in the West, is what I'm finding. Oh, there's the fastest guitar alive, but that's it. I don't know. I have no idea what this is. What this is a reference to. So, but again, some cartoony artwork by Frazetta. The horse is certainly cartoony and goofy looking.
The fastest guitar in the world. See, when you said it, I was confused because I was like, don't you mean guitar player? But then I looked at the picture and I was like, oh.
Yeah. But I mean, even the pose of this guy as he's being shot, that's cartoony, like, and the face on this
about to
horse
show
with
you
the
how
tongue
fast my
sticking out.
guitar is.
Yeah. 6 strings, 6 shooter? I don't know.
Oh, I'm gonna have to reload this son bitch.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on. And this one is called
That's a solid 8. I like that one though.
Which one? The guitar or this one
Yeah.
here? Yeah. It's called Roman Chariot. Yeah, it's an interesting piece for sure.
Hmm. Okay, so what? Okay, what is that person doing?
Uh which
The one
okay,
at the bottom, sitting on the rug or whatever that is.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Like, what kind of pose is that? Is that
Yeah,
even possible?
I'm not sure. I'm wondering where his other leg is.
And that looks like a fat horse, by the way. And maybe
Yeah,
it's just the perspective, but
yeah.
that horse is thick.
Hmm. Well, I'm thinking because it's white and I see some black dots. I don't know what they're called in English, but there's these horses in French. They're called percherons. They're like the biggest horses ever. This would be a miniature one. That's how big they are. Um,
Okay.
they're super heavy draft horses, which I don't feel you'd use for this kind of chariot because they're not really bred for speed. They're bred for strength.
Hmm.
Um, whereas this kind of chariot, I would assume you'd want speed. Um, I'm also not sure if Roman chariots, like this kind of war chariot, did it have full wheels like that? I can't remember. I thought they had
Wooden wheels.
spoked wheels. You know, not a
Spoked, yeah.
solid wheel. But then this might just be me remembering Ben Hur and other sword and sandal movies, and maybe they all got it wrong, and this is correct. I don't know. I really don't.
No, I think you actually make a good point there.
You know. I'm willing to forgive this kind of stuff because while it is called Roman chariot and clearly it's inspired from war chariots from the period and even before, um, there seem to be so many oddities that don't make this Roman that I'm willing to say, yeah, it's some Bronze Age fantasy setting. This is how they do it. End of story. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good though. It's still
There's
good.
some
Maybe
good
a
stuff.
7.5.
Yeah, I think 7.5 is fair. Next one is Tarzan and the Jewels of Opar.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, not a cartoony line this time, that's for sure.
No, Tarzan took a bit of a dark turn.
Yeah. So yeah, clearly this lion seems he's about to attack her, and Tarzan is about to jump on the line to stop it. There's Tarzan does fight lions in some of the TV shows, movies, and books, so that's all right. Again, another Tarzan book. I really haven't read a lot of Tarzan, and there's so many books. So me
Mm.
saying I haven't read it is nothing surprising or unusual. Um, I really like the lion, actually. Um,
Super detailed.
yeah, and size-wise, it feels right. You know, the only thing I'm gonna say that I find odd is because the body of the lion and its tail is only suggested, but Tarzan is so detailed, it makes Tarzan look like he's in front of the lion, whereas the pose seems to suggest he's going to jump on its back. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I think from the way it's the lion's body is, you can't see the
Mhm.
full size of the lion, which makes
No.
Tarzan look a bit bigger
Yeah.
than he actually probably should be.
Yeah.
And then because of that, it looks like he's not really behind it.
Hmm. There's something odd going on in the relationship, the spatial relationship of where is Tarzan in relationship to the lion.
Or maybe we're just used to seeing like someone mid jump, but from further away.
That's possible too. Yeah.
Because like this is like right before the moment of impact, not just
Yeah.
before the
It
moment of
is.
impact.
No, no.
If that makes
It's
sense.
yeah, it totally does. It's just because like Tarzan, the arms are both quite detailed, the face, and the you see every spot on the loincloth, and the back is fairly detailed, whereas this is very loosely detailed. And the more something is detailed, the more in front it looks.
Yeah.
Uh, there's an odd,
Mm.
the spatial relationship seems a bit odd. But I do like I really like the lion and the you know the action that's happening. I also love the fire and the flame effects. It's quite nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact I can't quite figure out the spatial relationship between the three figures. Uh, I'm gonna give it a 7, maybe a 7.5.
Yeah, I think 8, maybe.
Okay. And now we have Land of Terror. And I think I had a book with that on the cover. It looks familiar from that. Um, and if it is, um, and because we see this weird mix of humans and dinosaurs and mammoths and saber-tooth tiger, there's a series of adventures that Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote where um, all those like basically all these on this one isolated island, all these creatures are there, and these people find it and start to explore it, and so that would explain why it is. What's interesting is that it looks like, the way movie posters have like various figures, but they're not in any kind of way um, related to each other. You'll see one or two. The main characters are drawn really big, and then you see, think of a Star Wars poster, typical Star Wars posters. You see like a couple of the characters are drawn really big, and then you see like a TIE fighter or an X-wing fighter flying off, and they're all put together. And this feels like that, where you have these foreground figures, and this is not in the same space. Greetings, Darth Sidious. We mentioned Star Wars and Darth Sidious shows up.
Lord Darth
Spotted
Sidious.
your stream on my recommended videos. Interesting to see your true perspective. Look at, yeah, thank you. So I quite like this piece. To me, it's more of a suggestion of everything than, you could divide this illustration into 3, whereas this top half here is one illustration, then this part here without the humans is another one, and then the 2 humans and this weird sea creature is like a third perspective of this land of terror.
It's very interesting. There's definitely a lot going on. It's like you
Yeah,
said, you almost split the image up into like separate chunks, and there's a lot going on in each different bit.
yeah, and it's not it's not directly related. One is not directly related to the other, other than the fact that we see some mammoths here in the background, and there's a mammoth here, and we see the
Head of a
pterodactyl
dinosaur,
here, and there's another one here.
pterodactyl.
Yeah. So, but I
This
mean,
is a
it's
good one.
just,
Give
yeah,
this a
it is a
9.
good one. Yeah, I think so too. So, moving on. This is The Lost Continent. Clearly an adventure tale of some sort. They've just been surprised the pride of lions.
I like the detail of like the moss growing up the walls. That's quite nice.
Yeah, it is quite nice. You know what it reminds me of is some of the Tarzan illustration in the last stream we did in the previous book. Just the the color palette, and the overall feel, and the fact there's quite a bit of white. Um, No, I like this piece a lot.
Yeah, those two people are definitely about to have a hell of a time dealing with
Oh, yeah,
those lions.
for sure, for sure. It's like,
They're in the
yeah,
wrong neighborhood right now.
yeah. I really feel like they're, with these three here, and like we see a couple in here. Maybe these are cubs, and uh, so that's why they're being so aggressive, and the lions, and they're not cubs in the sense of newborn babies, but even uh, lions that act to us who aren't really trained. Like they look almost as big as adults, but they're still treated like cubs by the pride because they're young. They're not
Hmm.
fully grown yet. They'll still be defended by the adults. So that's what it feels like
Hmm.
to me, you know? It's not the lions are trying to hunt them, because the lions were trying to hunt them, they wouldn't be in this physical relationship in my mind, you know?
Yeah, the way they look
Lions
is like
surround,
they
it really feels like these bunch of lions were like lying in the sun, taking it easy, and then these people just dumbly and loudly stumbled in, and now they have to face with the
yeah, it looked
consequences of
defending the
not.
territory. That's what it looks like.
Exactly, yeah, that's a good way to put it. But I like this illustration a lot, and yeah, I think a good 9 for me.
I think it could do with a little bit more of like a border, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but I'd give it an
Yeah,
8.
okay. Oh yeah, and I should mention to Darth Sidious 322. Feel free to put your rating in the chat. Um, we
Yeah, it's
rate
nothing
things out of
serious or
10.
whatever. We're just
Yeah,
having some fun.
exactly. And again, some more sketches and ink pieces.
The bottom left one I like a lot.
Yeah, the two gorillas are great.
Again, it's more with that thicker shading.
Hmm. Well, it gives it a feeling of boldness, and
Hmm, pretty cool.
that's some fun stuff here. Again, more sketches. There goes the monetization again.
Whoa, that is the most detailed one. Frankie boy,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Well, I think he knows what people are going to be doing.
Oh my days.
Somebody knows how to lay out books.
First the tree woman, and now
Yeah,
this.
yeah. I'm just going to check something out. What page is this on? So I'm just flipping to this page in the book to see if it's any better. Yeah, so hmm. Yeah, the if you have a paper copy, you will see a little bit more detail where it's light than you do otherwise. So, but yeah. This one's odd. Like he's wearing this big headdress. You can just this is his nose. You can see his mouth here, but you don't see his eyes. It makes it's a bit odd.
Looks like a sort of Japanese feudal warrior.
Yeah.
He's got that sort of, if you look at his
Well,
legs, he's got that a bit of
yeah.
armor and the helmet with
Mhm.
horns.
Yeah, but I'm
Like a
thinking
general of some sort.
so there's like feathers attached to the spear, and I was thinking a bison headdress. So it's not the full head, it's just you keep the horns and the fur. But it's
Oh
hard
yeah,
to
okay,
say.
yeah, yeah.
It, the e- e- even in the paper, my hard copy, I have a hard time seeing details around here to tell for sure, to be able to tell for sure what's what, you know.
Mhm.
I mean, there's some nice stuff in it, but it would be nice to see a little bit more clearly what it all is. Next, we have the Torture Garden, and this really looks like a book cover for some, lurid adventure book.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not really in love with it. It's very typical of the kind of book I could see this being the cover of. And I don't see a date, so it's hard to say.
It does a good job of giving the impression that the flames, the fire is warping everything.
Yeah, it does. There's some nice stuff with the flames. The I like the way some of the branches of the tree and the flames sort of, it's hard to tell them apart, like around here. But overall it doesn't do too much for me. I'm gonna say 6.
Yeah, I agree. 6 is fair.
Yeah. Uh, I'm just reading Dart Sidious's comment. Nudity in Neanderthals reminds me a bit of Mike Hoffman's sketches. He recently picked up his Sorceress book at the local Comic Con. I haven't seen that book, so I'm not going to be able to comment either way, but I'm going to try and make a note of this. Mike Hoffman, see what good there is, what good stuff we can find that way. And this is Kane on the Golden Sea. So another Carl Edward Wagner book cover.
Mm.
I quite like this one. Has more detail than a lot of other Frazetta works.
The detail on the waves is phenomenal.
Yeah, the water is great. Um, I love the cloudy sky and the sun low on the horizon where the sky is clearing up. That's the feeling I get. It's, uh, book cover for
Ah,
Darkness Weaves. Um, and I will assume since Coco didn't mention that it is it's a Kane. It says Kane on the Golden Sea, so I assume it's a Kane book by Carl Edward Wagner. But I really like this one.
yeah, he would have corrected you if you were wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, and there's also the skeletal figure here. It's like, yeah, so clearly a fantastic tale there. Yeah, we never would have guessed there, Coco. But thank you. I mean, it is appreciated because, as I mentioned, I read a few of Carl Edward Wagner's short stories, but really not a lot. And I'm going to have to check out the Kane books
Yay,
at
more
some point.
things to not have
Yeah.
time for.
Yeah. But I quite like this one.
Yeah.
I'll give it a solid 9.
Yeah, this is a solid 9.
Next, this one is Warrior with Ball and Chain. Okay, not the ball and chain we mostly talk about, but
Not a huge fan of this one.
no, it's could be a bit better.
There's just not really a lot going on.
Yeah,
It's a bit like, I mean, I don't even know what the thing on the right is supposed to be.
yeah,
And then everything else is just empty space. There's just that one hand.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe some hair down here. If that's the hand, this could be the head would be somewhere here, and that would be hair. But it's hard to say what that is. It another human? Is it a like an ape man or although I do see some rings around the arm here. or bracelets. The lighting is odd too. It looks very washed out. Yeah. Cover for Flashing Blades #1. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why
Due to
Coco doesn't
the
hop
back.
on the stream. Yeah. And I don't see much more
Maybe
detail in the washed out areas. I don't see a lot more detail on the paper copy.
I appreciate the detail
Yeah.
on the man himself. That's all right.
Yeah.
I'll give it a
And,
6.
and I like the fact that it's a Morning Star. It's a different weapon. We rarely see it, so it's nice to see that too.
Yeah, when it said ball and
But
chain, I
yeah.
was expecting like a shackle.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
But yeah,
so
I'd give this a 6.
yeah, I think 6 is fair. Flashman on the Charge. Again, this is the more comedic type stuff. Flashman was a bunch of books which I've never read, but I've heard about, but I can't really tell you much about it. But you know, it's hard to say. I mean, all I know about it is about some guy in the British Army, and there's some parody and stuff of you know
What I will say about this one is the
yeah.
frontal angle is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. Though I find the horse's legs make it look like it's about to fall over. Yeah. Well, Coco, I have some bad news if you want to try to make it for book 4. And it's that while I do have book 4 in physical I have the actual book, I have not been able to find a scan of it. So until I get myself a webcam, which unfortunately some car repairs have delayed that purchase, I'm not going to be able to do book 4. But what I did not know existed, because I don't have it, is there is a book 5, and I did find a scan of that while I was looking for the book 4 one. So next time will be book 5, but I do hope you can make it, my friend.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
Oh, greetings, John. I see you just made it in. Okay.
John. Roll for
Yeah.
sanity.
Yeah.
What are you still doing awake? Hope you enjoyed your car stream earlier. I had it on in the background. I was lurking, but then I had to join Slan's stream. Not had to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. No, this is still a fun image. I'll give it a 7.
I really like this one. It's really hard to draw a horse from the front as well.
Yes,
and this guy's done it pretty well.
Yeah.
So I'd give this a 9.
Okay. Some more black and white pieces. On the left-hand side is from the Lord of the Rings. So we've seen the ring rate with that female warrior who's Eowyn. And now she's just decapitated the Wraith's mount. And then on the right-hand side, we have orcs, again from the Lord of the Rings. And I think these are what a lot of people would say are proper orcs.
They can't be orcs. They're not wearing sombreros.
Yeah.
Oh, let's not get into that.
No.
No, that's a really, really solid image. I like the one on the right, at least. The one on the left is kind of meh. I'll give that a 5. But the one on the right, that's a 9.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just trying to see. No, I can't quite make it out on the scan. It looks like there's a year written here, but I can't quite make it out, and I'd be curious to know if this was done before or after D&D orc illustrations that we're familiar with. But
Good
you
question.
know, let me see if we zoom in, if we can. It on my physical. Oh, 75, I would say. This looks like a 7 and a 5.
Oh, it does.
So I think, yeah, concurrent at least. Yeah, yeah. I can't fully disagree with you on that one there, John, but at the same time, uh, he's an equal opportunity lack of armor artist. He does it to both men and women, so
Oh yeah, some of the stuff we've seen earlier.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, well, John missed John. This was a good stream for John to show up. This is the detail we looked at earlier. So for anyone who showed up late, I'm just gonna quickly switch to the. This is the full image. It's just a detail of it. So we've already looked at it and rated it and everything. But yeah, even the detail looks like, if this was the full book cover, this would be great.
yeah.
You know. And here is the back cover, and it's the image we've already seen of the Cthulhu-esque monster / snake attacking the man,
Just
trying to
to end
strangle
it on the
him.
Cthulhu note. How
Yeah,
perfect.
exactly. While John is
Yoda's
here.
here, Grim Squirrel's here, I'm here, the whole
Yeah,
Cthulhu gang is here.
yeah. All right, so I'm gonna call it.
Best
Thank you
one so
very
far,
much,
I think.
What?
This has been the best one so far, I think.
Yeah, I think this is the best book as far as I
Despite
know.
all the nudity and blah, blah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna call it. Thank you, everyone who showed up. Much appreciated. Thank you, IQ, for being here as always. It's always fun to go through these with you.
Thanks for having me, mate. I
So
appreciate it. Hope you
yeah,
all enjoyed in chat.
yeah, and take care, everyone. We'll see you next time. Let's end the stream now.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.